Yeah, my guess is that some people will come in the first few minutes, and there have been about 12 people asked for the recording because they can't make it.
Okay.
Hello,
Thank you.
Brad.
A logistical thing. We started yesterday at Bridge House and we had many calls this morning. That's why we are all in one screen. But if you want to make breakouts rooms, I can go with my computer to another place to be in another room.
Oh, great.
We can
Yeah,
split into groups when it's needed.
perfect. Yeah, the breakout room I wanted to create is the last about half hour or even 20 minutes where people who come who've been hearing these legends have a chance to consider what their next steps are on their own path to everyone who's coming here is coming that has something to do with the purpose of being some kind of uh, communitarian, some kind of visionary, and to be able to put the information into action. Hello, Alan, is what those breakout rooms would be about. So it'd be cool to have people be able to break out with a couple of you, and yeah, depends on how many people come. We can make however many breakout rooms. So far, it's not a
Okay.
huge crowd.
Great.
Cool. And then also yeah, afterward we can talk about, or in the next day or two, we can talk about what we want to do with the recording, and to keep like creating possibilities about I just want more people to know what's possible, especially using the distinctions, tools, maps, processes of possibility management, especially for individuals, but then Torus technology for groups, for game worlds, for families, for growness teammates. Uh, it just lights me up so much, and this is where I'm coming from today, having asked for this call, and in a way it's my own selfish purpose of I want to know what you're discovering, especially in this last year, since I was on the call with Patricio, who can't make it today after all, and I think some of you were there. Notice how fast I'm going. I just want to fit it all in. Welcome to this legend sharing and next step creation space with some of the Inla Keshians who show up on probably your screen as Tamara in the red shirt, and then David and Monica and Alivia. And I want to hand it over really to you already to say what's some of the gold from this last year of experimenting. I think there's a video recording that if you and Alan, Alan and Brad haven't seen yet, you could watch. I can send it to you. That was talking about how it had been going in the years before, and it mostly was about how Inla Kesh started, and then kept losing people and starting over and losing people, and there was a lot of conflict and then COVID happened, and it was really like, how are we going to survive? How are we going to keep going? Will we keep going? And I've heard a similar story from the people at Tamara, the people at other big projects, even at Schloss Glarisegg, other eco-villages, other intentional communities of various sizes, where COVID became this slowing down and really this question like, what else is possible? Because we don't want to stop. We don't want to go back to ordinary business as usual modern culture. We want to create something different. Yeah, I'll stop talking.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation, Nicole, and you, Alan and Brad, for showing up. And
Tamara,
yeah, and Tamara and Alivia, Alivia and Tamara, who are here in our bridge house setting, which we started yesterday. So there are people also joining who are interested in community building and also in PM tools, how to put them into community building. And yes, it's a real discovery how community can thrive with these tools. And the last years, or the last year from the recording, we really can witness that we are every day we are faster, we are more trusting in each other, and overcoming challenges in a way that wasn't possible before. And also the it's also about we are here, and now bridge house is happening, lab was happening, ETB was happening, and it's all coming to we distilling every time more to new culture.
I'm just
Yeah,
going to pause
so
and add, because for for maybe for maybe you, Brad, I know for some people who will watch the video, they don't know what Bridge House or ETB or Lab is. So I just want to quickly say, Expand the Box is ETB, and this is the basic training to use possibility management. And it's usually a 3 or a 5 day training with Expand the Box trainers delivering 45 to 55 maps and tools and distinctions and having processes, and people come out of it, yeah, different. And then once a person's done an Expand the Box, then this is the prerequisite to go to a possibility lab or an intimacy journey or lab, a woman of earth lab. There are many different kinds of labs where the learning, the evolution, the healing continues. And then a bridge house is when people who are using possibility management come together to live together for a period of time. And that period of time might be 3 months. It might be, I think yours is, how long is yours that started yesterday?
1 month.
1 month. And it could be like indefinite, like until we change our minds, or until it's over, until it's time to converge. The convergence is over and the divergence becomes maybe seeding more bridge houses. And a bridge house is called a bridge house because when you go in, you come from modern culture into the bridge house. And when you come out of the bridge house, you are more and more in next culture, which in possibility management, we use the distinction archiarchy to distinguish matriarchy from patriarchy from archiarchy. It's a culture that has never existed on planet Earth, and this is what is coming. And this is possibility management is in particular about providing distinctions, tools, maps, and processes to create archiarchy. Right. So I give it back to you.
Yes.
You go there.
I don't know how much do you know about Torus technology, and I want to say a little bit. The Torus technology, it's a technology that was created in possibility management for groups, teams, communities, any kind of group that wants to create evolution and empowerment and love and creativity without hierarchy.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hello.
And yeah, mm, it takes like different element from different contexts, from different ways of work with teams. And in the past, I think in last year, I was giving some trainings for groups about Torus technology. And what was like the most interesting part for all of them, for all the participants, and also for me, it's all the distinctions are and the tools that the Torus technology have to handle conflicts mostly, because there are like sociocracy is already working for years in eco village, and still so much projects cannot thrive, cannot continue, because at some point there are just not ways to go through the hot things and approach the shit that is on the table. And this is for me the big contribution of Torus technology in communities, in groups that wants to work together. How we do it when the fase de enamoramiento, like the phase of being in love with each other, it's over, which could last maybe 1 year or maybe less, and you start to see the shadow of each other and how we deal with that. And this is for me the goal of Torus technology, to have these tools in a new structure. It's called Torus technology because it's a Torus geometry. It's like donut, which in the center it's empty. Nobody, it's in the center. So the forces that are bigger than us, that are beyond our minds and our individual thoughts, can flow and bring aliveness and energy in the center. And this is also something very interesting and powerful that we were discovering in the last time, to observe how much we are addicted to recreate hierarchy wherever we go, because we survive in modern culture playing with hierarchy, like going to school and see, okay, who is the teacher, who is the smart person in the class, and you start to look at figures of power to create an environment that is safe for you. And we just take it as a strategy to survive wherever we go. And when we go to communities or to projects that are supposedly aware of all those things, the software is just inside, and so easy to create it again. And it really is taking us, I mean, we are not free of that, but we are in the last 2 years in the process of each of us dismantling how we create hierarchy with the people. And you can do it alone. I mean, other people can play with you, but you can just put the pieces in the place that you needed to play this low drama. And this is something that was really bringing a lot of gold in our community, to start living in a context of radical responsibility. That means that you are at the source of your creation, of your reality. And you don't nobody else is responsible of your joy, of your pain, of the results that you have.
Mhm.
And when you work as a team with this level of responsibility, it just changed completely the scenario where we are playing. You want to say something?
Yes, to step in the distinction from sociocracy. Who knows sociocracy of you? Mhm. Yes. So it's about just being on the same on the same from the same distance to power, everybody, and being able to take a step to saying what you really want. But in this context of radical responsibility, sometimes um, uh, sometimes when we make a decision, under our underworld is quite active still, even if we have an organization who theoretically inhibits this power structures. Our underworld can make it in some way that that is happening still. And in Torus technology, as we make it very visible, where our gremlin, which is the symbol of our underworld, is acting, so we can name it and we can point it out that this now in this moment is happening here in between us, and have strategies to go with this in the moment, and put out of these shadow principles in order to serve the big picture of what we are really want to empower of the new culture. So it's very, very different from ongoing decision-making processes, or where the shadow principles is visible. So it brings totally other possibilities to the space.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And another thing that I was discovering the last years, last year I was giving a coaching to an enterprise that was wanting to use Torus technology. And it was amazing. We changed really the basement, the structure of the enterprise into a Torus. And then what happened is that you really start to see what the project is about, and this the process of taking more responsibilities, and also dismantle the hierarchy, is not just to that everybody can do whatever they want, but that you really find what you are doing. And we discovered that, for example, the people in the enterprise that start to delegate and give more space to other people, it was not enough, because then it was clear that people was just there because of the money. They were not really with passion about the project. So then you also start to face like the reality of the game worlds that we are creating. And yeah, this is a challenge that I find working with enterprises or projects that are based on creating something that is not the passion of the people. And this is also, I mean, also it's also in a community when you start to step out of the role of responsible victim, that you are doing things because they needs to be done, and you start to face what you really want. It's something that I think Torus technology create naturally when we sit together in a structure where nobody's telling you what to do, and at the same time you are responsible of everything that you are seeing around. And these are some of the challenges that I find working with, in this case, with an enterprise. That is not, it's not enough to change the software or to change the structure. if the people really don't take stand for what they love.
Mhm. Yes, and we can speak days about this. And what I really want to know, why did you sign up for this work talk? What is really happening in you that you want to know about community and other forms of organization? What are you turned on to be in this work talk? So we can directly go to your needs.
I'll share. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for the intro so far. I'm resonating. And I have it's kind of a vague call in some ways to make things better on planet Earth for people and planet. Like I just see so many ways that there's bleed in society, like in the banking system or food, just all over the place. And I won't take up too much time with that. But I have a desire to find people to collaborate and maybe do joint ownership ventures where people share the profits of labors in a venture and stuff like this. And so I came because I know I need empowerment around how to work with people and teams and make things work, because I know things explode. I have that experience firsthand.
I couldn't understand very well the last part. Can you repeat it and
Sorry,
speak
my
a little
fan.
bit slower?
Sure, yeah. I just want to know how to structure team ventures and become aware of things I'm not aware of so that I can do better running team ventures and collaborate better with people, basically.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Brad, do you want to share what is turning you on being here in this work talk, so we
Sure.
can direct better to your needs also?
Sure. It's I'm living in a small community at the moment, and I'm part of some social groups for creative individuals, and where some of it is based on current methodologies and current social paradigms, and essentially my interest is in creating for myself a better world to live in, and using the technologies for healthier communities overall. I don't have any ventures. I'm not involved in any business ventures at the moment. I've been following tiny house movement and villaging movement here in North America for the last 5 years or so now, and I'm finding that many people are wanting to create change and wanting to try different methodologies and different approaches to things, but are tending to be stuck with old and outmoded ways of thinking and communicating. And I'm guessing that the Torus technologies will help in change, providing that change. So that's mostly my interest in the Torus technology.
See, can you briefly say where your organizations are stuck, where you really want to go a step forward?
It's the communications modalities. I've been observing and watching communications between individuals and within organizations, and how people are trying to implement new ways of doing things, but are at the same time still using the old language and old language patterns, and
Yes.
and that's something I'm looking to address. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, can you say something? Why are you here? What is interesting for you speaking about Torus technology and hearing about Inla Kesh, so we can address more properly?
Yes, thank you. Buenos días. Me llamo Michelle. This was a beautiful invitation from Nicole that I received yesterday. And I have a lot of respect and admiration for Nicole and the work that she's given herself over to in her life. And so when the invitation came, I just quickly looked at the time and said, wow, I have an opening there. And I looked at the description. And when I saw that you were in Chiapas, it struck a chord. It's been many years since I've been to Chiapas, but there was something, I was still quite young. I was probably maybe 20 the first time I went to Chiapas, and it was one of the first times that I was able to see a way of being in the world that wasn't familiar to how I had been brought up in Canada. And it opened my eyes and my heart and my mind to possibilities of how other people had made conscious decisions to be together and to question the systems that govern us. As a young person in a dominantly white environment, it wasn't something that I had been taught to do. And it wasn't until I had seen examples of all of the options, or at least some of the options, that I began to wonder about, so what does this mean for me in my life and how I want to be? And for many years, I thought I needed to leave the place. I had to leave Canada. I had to go far away to find ways to live in alternative structures and communities. And for the last 8 years, I've found myself primarily in Alberta, in Canada, and attempting to revisit. So what is it now? How do we do what we've seen in other places? How do we do it here? And how do we recognize the challenges that we face, but learn from those who have created and leaned on models? And so I didn't prepare myself to be here. I wasn't sure what this was about, but it was an invitation, and it felt like it fit in a really lovely way. And when you spoke of sociocracy, it was something that I thought, oh, I remember that. And I studied that and we practiced that. And then the divergence came. I think when the pandemic took place, many people, well, first they isolated and then they went in different directions. And I'm just observing right now patterns of people readying themselves to come back together, and at least in my environment. And so what I feel now that I am in your company, what I'd like to hear is just learn more about how your days look in this model, because sometimes I feel like I can get the big picture of where we're going, and the places that I find challenging are, until we get there, what does that look like for the way that we are together in one day, in 2 days, in a week? How do we actually begin to make those changes in our lives where we can make this every day and not just a workshop, or not just something that we tap into and then we remove ourselves from, but where we really learn what needs to shift so that this can become how we really are together ongoing.
Mhm. Thank you.
And there's one more person in the space. Roger, he has sent a message. Yeah, I'm curious about the deeper workings of the Torus model.
So thank you for sharing. And really, all what you shared is very important to create another society which starts with changing our ways of thinking. And the side effects are our ways of relating, our ways of communication, and making it in a daily life practice.
I want to check if you have a question, or or you want to say something.
No, thank you. You, Olivia?
I don't think there's something specific for me. But just wanting to hear more from you too, about the details of Torus technology, and
Mm.
Which one?
Yes. Yeah, maybe I answer your question, Michelle, about how is in the daily life, and that also can give you more an idea of how it works. And we organize ourselves in nodes. So these do not have nodes that are like small or big cells that have different purposes and projects. So, for example, we have one node of the codex, another node of trainings, another node of economy, another node of children, another node of the other land that we have, another node of
Maintenance.
So there are many nodes, and you participate in the nodes that you want, and in the divergence that are basically the daily life, where when we are not in convergence, we are working in all these nodes. So every node have their own calendar. We meet when we decide together. We have our own chat that is part of a bigger chat where you can see all the conversation that every node have. So it's transparent what the nodes are talking and deciding. And then in the convergence, we gather to take decisions and to share the decisions that the node have and want to take resistance with the convergence. So the convergence can happen, could change sometimes if the nodes are very active and we need to decide many things. So we gather once a week, or if not, we can gather every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's depends on the people, basically. You can call for a convergence, and there is always one people that holds space for this space, and it's the guardian that really, it's a space for decisions.
And this is very important. So it's not a rigid structure about now we have our organization teams meets every 2 weeks, and then you have to meet even if you don't have nothing to speak about. So it's like avoiding these points of death, where we are just sitting together and wasting our time. So it's really, wow, I really have a new thing to say from the notes of maintenance, for example, and I call to a meeting.
And the nodes also have a space holder, a person that is holding space for that project, for that node to happen. And if there is not space holder, there is no node. So a node could die in any moment, and also a new node can start at any moment if you want to do it.
I'm a
Well, I
little
want to
confused.
add,
Yes.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I'm wondering.
Brad.
Thank you. I'm wondering about the term space holder. I've come across it before, and but I'm not really clear on what the meaning of it is. What is involved in being a space holder?
Yeah.
I want to say that in a
Yes.
maybe a different way, which is that what I hear each of you, David and Monica, talking about is a torus as an emergent structure. So it's not a structure that people fit themselves into. It's a structure that actually arises out of each person having their own authority and being a space holder. And a space, there's, and this comes back to the possibility management part of Torus technology, where how a space is held and how a space can roll is determined by how it's held. The possibilities are determined by how it's held. So there's a way where each individual person is also either a hierarchical entity or a torus emerging structure. And to shift from being a person who gives my authority away to other people, who adapts to fit in, who's in survival mode. These are all the parts where, as an individual, to become part of a torus field or a torus structure, it takes undoing what I learned and becoming a person who can hold space for torus technology to happen.
All right. So does that mean then, look, you'd be holding space by ensuring that conversation stays on topic, or that people aren't reverting to older ways of interacting, or is
some of that does end up how it goes. And really, it's, in a way, it's about living as a human being, not just from my head and my physical body. It's about coming alive in my emotional, energetic, and in a way, for me, it's been about pruning my mental body back so that I don't have so much always happening in my head. And the difference it makes is then I can make proposals instead of thinking, what should I be doing? What should other people be doing? Because this should thing is really about some internalized authority that comes from the outside, rather than this question of, what do I want? What is the necessity in this space? And the convergence and divergence that happens as I move as an individual into convergence in one node, diverging from that node into another node, as my day unfolds, it all comes from negotiating proposals. And there's an amazing technology that's part of torus technology called resistance decision making. Will Monika or you, David, talk about resistance decision making?
Yes. Yes, it's a way of taking decisions where you make a proposal and you check what are the resistance in the group from 0 to 10. So for example, I say, I propose that we send this recording to all the emails that Inla Kesh have. And I asked for resistance, 1, 2, 3, and everybody put the hands from 0 to 10. 0 means I don't have resistance, and also I'm happy that that's happened. 2, 3 is like, okay, I have a little bit, have something to say, and as much you have, it's like you have really a big resistance to put on the space. So when I say that and I check the resistance in the group, I check what are the resistance, and if the resistance can be solved easily, it's something, it's just a detail to add, so we can go on with the decision. If there are too much resistance, I can just forget my proposal. There is not working. I need to bring something else or something different. Or the people that have the resistance goes into my node. Could be the node of the communication with the world. So in the convergence, we are not taking time to discuss resistance. Just if it's very fast and easy, we talk about, but if it's a bigger conversation, then it's over for now, and people that have resistance come to my node to talk about, because it means that you have something important to say.
Yes, this is a difference from other organization forms, because when normally people expresses their resistance, everything is collapsed and frenado
Break or
stopped and stopped and stopped. And in this form is, wow, I'm really turned on with this topic, and I have to bring so much more impulses in this topic, so I will come to the note, and it will really be enriched and not stopped. So it's a complete different way of collaboration. And if you try it in your organizations, you immediately see what is possible to make this elevator of passions, because the people step in when they really have something to say, not because they have to, because this note have to go on, and so on. It's really about passion, and I'm interested in this.
yes, and something connected with this is there's something in Torus technology that is the rules of chaos, that are like the frame and the rules that we have to navigate chaos. And one of
Chaos.
these are, yes, chaos. Thank you. It's to not kill impulses. So with resistance, we are not killing impulses. If you have resistance, you are part of the team. You cannot just block something.
Something
So yes.
Something I love about resistance decision making is I can use it with myself. I can use it with one other person. I can use it about anything. And the first proposal can come from anyone. And then the resistance can be used to create the next proposal until everyone's like, I have no resistance, let's go. And this can happen so fast. I have this legend from the Magic Cow Bridge House where on the very first day, there was this, where are we going to put the compost? And there's this moment where someone said, too bad we don't have chickens. Someone said, I propose we get chickens. Resistance, 3, 2, 1. Where would we put them? Who would do it? How much money do we want to spend? And within, I think it was something like 10 or 15 minutes, there was a no resistance moment where by the time I got there in the evening, there was already the materials to build a chicken coop. It was so fast. And in so much of my village building work, people have come at me and said, well, how's it going to happen? You know, and my answer now is using resistance decision making. And yet to even know what my resistance is, its resistance isn't up here. Resistance comes from all of my bodies. It comes from my energetic, my emotional body. And when, you know, it's something to learn to bring your resistance from all bodies without knowing what it is. And then finding out what it is, using my anger, my fear, my sadness, my joy as information to discover the wisdom of the resistance in my body and in the other people in the room. And then anyone can bring the next proposal. Or like was already said, it can be, the next proposal could be, I propose we pause about this, and whoever wants to keep going with it, create a node. And then it rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and other thing that I want to say about Torus technology, and I also think is one of the biggest contribution for teams and for communities, is the emotional healing processes. Because even if you have the best model, there will be always a point that if you are stuck with your own healing, you will just destroy the space. You will get stuck as a as an individual and as a team. And yeah, possibility management have so many tools to approach healing and transformation. And I think this is something that make Torus technology so amazing, that you have like a box of tools to work when you start using these kind of technologies, and in the first day you are already triggered, you're already in conflict with one person, and then you very easy to feel that you stop flying. Now you are on the swamp, and from one moment to the other. And really, if there is not liquid state, if there is not transformation and healing from all the blocks that are going against what we really want, it's really not working. And for us, it's really coming again and again the needs of make trainings together, go through healing processes, and also have external people to hold space for us in our conflicts. That's so important, to always have some external person that can hold space for the group. Even if you are 8 workers, whatever, there will be a blind points that you will not be able to approach easily. And
Yes. And I want to add also the knowledge that we are acting and reacting from our point of worldviews, which we call boxes. It's so easily to recreate the encounter of boxes and recreate box wars, and not being in really contact with the essence of the people. So creating this common language and this common knowledge helps so much to bring us together once and again, when we see, wow, it's just my box preference that I don't want a red car, I want a yellow car, and we are able to fight for this as if it will be the most important things of our life. So this is very, very important, this common thought word in Torus technology, where we really can break down very easily this kind of drainage of energy in unnecessary discussions. Yeah.
So much of what I hear you talking about, David and Monica, I hear these maps and distinctions alive in you. And I remember at one point when I was first studying and using possibility management, I got to this part where I was just so liquid, because I didn't know how on earth I could create with anybody who didn't also have these maps and these distinctions, and who weren't coming from like using them so that there were these really clear ways of saying, oh, my gremlin is saying this, rather than speaking as my gremlin, or this is my box, rather than speaking as my box, or having the attitudes and behaviors of my box be what I'm relating with. And as I've had more emotional healing processes, which initiate me into ever more authentic adulthood, I'm discovering that I can be these maps and distinctions in action with anyone. And I can be relating, I can catch myself, or I've given my gremlin the job to catch himself relating with their box or their gremlin, and shift to relating being to being. And this is like the new levels of freedom and responsibility I'm able to kind of live in as I hold space for myself, as I hold space with others, it just blows my mind. And again, like this is where I'm coming from, to come and talk to you, to bring what is happening at Inla Kesh. I mean, I just remember about the stories of this continual breakdown and these power struggles between people that then became contagious to the whole community. Whose side are you on? You know, this is all gremlin low drama. And to be shoulder to shoulder as teammates, each coming from your own authority, making proposals, navigating with intimacy, creating together, collaborating, rather than getting stuck in these personal swamps and then in these low drama wars. It's just, I mean, I end up like, wow, a bright future for humanity on Earth is possible. And there's a lot to it.
Yes, thank you for your passion and sharing all your insights from the years you are on this path, Nicole. And it turns me on also, because living in this context of community building without these distinctions, we were mostly in the swamp, mostly complaining, mostly giving the guilt to other person, and not being able to make proposal, make a stand for myself. Why is it important for me to go on in this and this and this way? So it's a really a really new life to being in a community structure.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot of things of how to make decisions, sociocracy, ¿cómo se llama? ¿Qué hacemos con Maricela?
Consenso.
Conscience, decision making, and so much other tools. But if we are really not looking for what is really going on and him, and he is really interested in what is going on in me, and have the outcome as a side effect, it's different than going for an outcome. And wow, what he's feeling, it's not important. What he is thinking is not important. It's creating a new base of interacting and possibility to create together, seeing all the 5 bodies, all what is going around, and not just in between he and I. It's also about the bigger life community.
Mhm.
How can I today speak about what is going on here, knowing what is going on in Gaza today? How can it not affect me? How can I not be sad about this? And this affects all my relationships. And being conscious about, it's not just me and you, it's all the interconnectedness of life. Yeah, and it's a new relating and a new form of being together and seeing what is the agenda of today, and not just have this agenda like, oh, what was missing the last time, EBC, and get it out of the list. It's about being alive, being fully alive, what is happening now, and it's create liveness in the group, and not like an enterprise. We have to do this and this and this, and we are turning to zombies in some way, and robots. Even if it's a ONG with a high purpose and with a great thing, what really turns on. But sometimes even these ONGs, in one point, they're like enterprises. And it's really sad, because there are so many people with these big hearts and this yes, dedication for life, which are all of a sudden stopped with the with what is going on in the group, and nobody's understanding really what is going on. It's just like this energy all of a sudden it's bringing down the whole group energy, the whole purpose, the whole, and all of a sudden, you know, I want to step out of this group. I will build another group. Wow.
Yeah, I want to underline that bring people together and collaborate and live together with other people. It's, I will say, the most difficult thing that you can do on earth. And when you go with this awareness, it really wakes you up of what is really needed and what is really going on inside of us, that humanity was not able to live together, co-creating, collaborating without war. So this is the age of humanity. We're not managing to do that for many years. And what I like of Torus technology is that gives you the awareness of things that are important when you step in such a thing, like to have a codex that is like the book with the las reglas del juego, the rules of the game, the frame of how we navigate the craziness that we are creating, how we navigate this danger space that is being with each other. And
basic agreements, you can call it.
Yeah, it's like a kind of book of agreements. But there are so many things that people that were researching in possibility management and giving coaching to groups and communities for so long, they were like distilling and putting name and creating tools for navigate those things. And I really encourage you to check the website and see all the different kind of processes that you can do for each kind of situation. And that's really the biggest issue when we are together. It's not what we are doing. Like, everybody is a genius in the things that are doing, but when it's about relating, this is the difficult part. And this is really where a team needs to be, needs to have a lot of the attention of the group, should be constantly in how we are relating, what is really going on between us, what happened between these two people, what is happening between these other, like, this is really where the structure of the group is the relation space between us. And we were not attending that at all in the last years. I mean, we as a community and as a humanity, this is like the most weak part, that it really needs a lot of attention and work, at least in the next years, to regenerate this part in us. And yeah, that bring to the question, okay, who holds space in your group for what is going on in the relationship level? Who is the space holder? Who will be the space holder in your group to check what is going on? This is something very helpful to have the distinction of space holder. When there is not space holder, everything is in the we responsibility. That means that nobody cares, basically. The things that doesn't have a space holder are things that nobody will do. So this could be something very useful when you step in a project, to start taking responsibility and seeing the things that are needed and who holds space for those things. And you will always find new things that need a space holder, but at least go for the things that you are seeing.
And this inner navigation of working with my feelings and emotions is so helpful to learn to speak up, to go to my warriorness and say, stop now, this is too much. Here's something differently going on. It's not, I don't know what is happening here, but it's not what we are speaking about. And we really coming out of the world of giving all the power to our heads is so dangerous to speak from our intuitions and also put them on the table and say, I need help. I feel this. Who are sensing the same thing? What is going on? What is really going on here? What is stopping the dynamic? Why can't we go on in this topic? And it's about inner navigating our own feelings and possibilities to go on. And Alan, you're raising the hand. What do you want to say?
Thanks. We just a minute ago, David, you were talking about space holding. Again, that word comes up. And I just wondered if someone has an example of like a legend or a story, for example, of what space holding looks like for a minute or two on a specific project, just so I can land it.
No, in this specific moment, Nicole is the space holder of this ongoing work talk. She made the proposal to make this happen. She got into contact with us. She made up this call. She made the flyer. She called the people. She is making the context, holding the context of now here we are, and I want to speak about radical responsibility and this and this and this, and invites to questions, to making deeper the context and building more matrix and more understanding where we can build upon that. We every time when we meet, we have more courage to speak out what we really want to speak out. And and she has the beginning, the middle, and the end of this conversation, and she will create an after space.
And that doesn't mean that you do it alone, but means that you take responsibility that happened. Like, for example, I'm a space holder for one car in the community. So doesn't mean that I the only one taking care. But if something happened, I bring the car to the mechanic, or I ask the person that broke something to fix it. I'm holding space that the things happen. This means to be a space holder. So if you have a meeting with your group and you don't have a space holder, maybe nobody will take notes, nobody will check the time, nobody will start putting the topics on the table. These things happen when there are not space holders for things. So when you are a space holder, you take the responsibility that the thing that you take happen. And you have a team to do that.
Yeah. And also you point out what is working and what is not working, and you stop impulses what are against the impulses that want to make fly a group. And there are some impulses they just going down and just protect all these energies not to come in and bring down the group energy.
Another part of
there
it.
There are trainings in. Yeah, go, Nicole.
Another part of it is that everyone in this call is a space holder. Maybe not such a conscious space holder, but you're part of what's possible in this space. And to become a space holder who holds space for creation, love, clarity, possibility, transformation, it takes becoming a more and more conscious, skilled space holder. And this is so different than, being a consumer or a student or being a teacher or a boss. you know, these are modern culture ways of unconsciously holding space that are really not working. And so even though I am the originator and the space holder in this call, I've been I've been holding space for David and Monica, and even to hold space for you a little bit by asking what you're here for, what are your necessities, what do you want from this space. So there's this way where more and more the tools and distinctions and maps and processes of possibility management alongside Torus technology empower every person to be a space holder and to create and evolve and regenerate the space.
So
Thank
it's
you.
more.
And it's a training that never ends.
Yes.
Brad?
So it's more than just being a facilitator. It's also having responsibility and moment-to-moment responsibility for what goes on. And
In the
Yes,
context,
and it's also this step from the old map of responsibility. It's like when you hear responsibility, it's like a burden. It's like, oh, I don't want to have this responsibility. No, this kind of responsibility is a step to high level fun, to really be there. Wow, I really go there, what I really want to manifest in this world. It's a completely different relating to responsibility.
okay.
May I add something?
Yes.
My camera's off. Okay, thanks. What I know of Nicole, and one of the things I believe it was in, oh, I don't know, 2017, 2018, Nicole, hey, where you started introducing space holding workshops to the Edmonton area, or at least that's when it caught me. And what I've learned about space holding is there's this attunement that is asked of us, to hold that which emerges. And so earlier, David, when you mentioned the donut and there's the hole in the center, the imagery that I got was that hole in the center is the place where anything is possible. And when you added the layer of resistance, decision making, it was like sometimes the resistance will create a whole new thing that we didn't maybe know was there, but it was under the surface, and now it's brought to the top. And if I'm focused on how do I actually get those chickens here, meaning the fence, where are we going to buy them, who's getting the food, we might not notice that someone's resistance is that they're scared of chickens. But the space holder might be able to say, hey, I'm attuned to the energy and the frequency that something is here now that wasn't here a moment ago, and how might we address that and make space for that also. And that's something that I've witnessed Nicole do so many times over the years, where there's that attunement to something in someone's space or the collective space just came from that hole in the center, and now there's something here that wasn't here before, so how can we address that also? So there's that, like, let's make the lists and keep things on track, but also let's take a moment to attune to the environment and the circumstance of what has now been created collectively, so that that emotional and energetic component of each of us, as well as the collective frequency and field, is also just named and identified and brought to awareness.
thank you. This what I hear you talking about are some of the core skills of a space holder, and possibility management is really in essence training for space holding as an individual, as part of a couple, as part of a group of three, as part of a group of however many in an intentional community. And these core skills include noticing and being able to discern what's happening from the stories about what I think are happening that come from, you know, my box, my gremlin, the past, and to be able to be here and now in reality, radically honest about what I'm feeling and thinking, and to be able to create intimacy and collaboration as a space holder, it's no longer a surprise to me that possibility management has been in a way translated into something like 650, maybe almost 700 now, websites that deliver theory that's been discovered and evolved by possibility managers, and experiments for people to do, so that it's not just a theoretical idea of how to make something possible, but it's a five-body experience of how to be a collaborative creator with other collaborative creators. And
one thing for me, which is very important also for a space holder, when you are really take a space from the very beginning, be conscious about that going on with your own evolution from the very beginning. It might be better to find a person who will replace you when you are on your next step of evolution. It's not, wow, I will become a good space holder in this, and then the rest of my life I will be there. No, this is sucking energy. Just when I am at that point, please give me a kick to my butt and say, it's done. And you go to the next step of evolution. So this is from the very beginning, have clear, I don't want to be a very one specialist more on this world and then stuck for the rest of my life. No, it's go to the next step of evolution. This is so new for me also and freeing to really, wow, to empower the next person to get my job done in the next year. And then I can fly to another world where my passion is will still evolve more. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of projects that when one person die, the project just ends. When the guru die, the project is over. It's about how you replace yourself so that the project doesn't depend in one person or in some people.
Well, that's sort of what you said right at the beginning too, eh? With the whole Torus, the idea of the Torus technology is that everybody is at a equidistant, same distance to the power or to the authority or to those words don't really sum it up, but that everybody is able to step into that particular spot, space holder. That it's not all that it's
And also have this image of being like a tree, that you empower yourself will be this liquid going on in the trunk, going up, making fruits, and empower yourself, and then fall down, convert yourself into compost for this ongoing project, and then convert yourself again into the liquid cambium, it's its name, I guess, and then go up again. And this is the circling of energy and your own transformation. It's so beautiful to think I'm not ending like an apple on the tree and then nothing has happened. Just fall down and go to the worms again, and wow, you will relive. It's a beautiful image for me.
Yeah, and those things need a space to happen. And maybe this is something that I will add to Torus technology that we are doing every 3 months, that are spaces for our community to to go deeper in the structure, in what is really going on between us, in the things that we cannot talk in the convergence, in the things that we cannot talk in one day. So we gather for 1 week and we put everything on the table, like all the conflicts that are not solved, all the wishes that are not happening, like everything. The vision is really what we want, what you really want. And we put everything.
Resentments, expectations.
It's like a phoenix process when we put fire in everything and we see what is at the end, when the fire consume everything that was really not essential. And yeah, that needs really the courage and the passion to really take time to check deeply, what are you creating?
I love it. I love it. You know, I think that if I'd heard you say that you as a community did this regularly, I mean, 10 years ago, I would have maybe assumed that then it just gets awful, you know, and yet I can I get it now that the purpose of doing all of that, the purpose of putting things on the table is not to start a war about who's right or who's wrong or who's good or who's bad. It's to discover what's in the way of more creative collaboration and aliveness. And that this phoenix process, the death and resurrection show, you know, the apple falling off the tree and then fertilizing the tree. This is so I'm so turned on about this about how this is how it goes. One of my projects right now is I'm helping create a website with Ingrid Schmidhusen and Martina Ricarda, and it's about how to die by learning how to live and how to live by learning how to die. And it's about exactly this, just burning down or going so liquid that what I am is like, I don't even know what I am anymore. And then I discover my next phase of evolution by becoming what almost is left. And it never gets old.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Also, another purpose, it's to really see what is the next step of evolution, because in community, one of the biggest shadow is to create a comfort life when you have everything that you want, you have the relationship that works for you, you just live in the comfort. And also that can happen in groups, that you gain certain position and then you just stay there because it's comfortable. So in these meetings we really check what are you doing, like this is really where you need to be now, so we don't fall asleep in what we are doing. That is very easy.
Yeah, and it's sometimes a big temptation also to, wow, why does he ask me again? And I just want to have nothing to do. I just, we had this symptom in the community, we call it the suitcase syndrome, where we have the suitcase in a corner and say, no, I'm done with this. Nobody leaves me with my in my comfort zone. So I just want to go out, go to a normal life. I have a television. I just go out to make yoga, and I don't know what everything to make a better world happen. But living in community, it's like, wow, he's seeing my shadow making a mess, and he will say it to me. And it's not always like, oh, thank you. It's so great that you say that this shadow is still acting in me. It's like really falling sometimes. It's, like you say, Nicole, it's so ugly sometimes, because sometimes it's not the point where I want to be.
Yeah, sometimes with new people, especially, I hear myself saying something like, it will be excruciatingly painful at times because it hurts coming out just like it hurt going in. And you know, I got to the part where more and more often this excruciating pain is, I feel joy about it because I am alive. I am growing. I am learning. I am on purpose more and more and more. And it's so worth it. And more even in some of the spaces. In one of my 3 cells 2 days ago, someone was hooked. And I was like, are you hooked? And she was like, I don't know. I was like, are you hooked? And she's like, yes, I'm hooked. And I was like, yay, you're hooked. This is perfect. We're going to learn so much. And it wasn't me trying to rescue her. It was, I authentically could celebrate that she was hooked. So this was going to open up the next level of evolution for the team. And I was also terrified because I could, my scanners were picking up some of what might be going on, but I didn't want to assume. So it was, you know, oh, using my fear and my anger and my joy and my sadness all to keep holding the space without getting hooked myself, even though there were these hooks coming at me. And like, it's like driving a spaceship totally through chaos, asteroids, planets, meteors, black holes, and learning how to do it while I'm doing it.
Thank you.
Goes from terrifying to fun eventually, a little bit more each maybe month or year. Yeah. And maybe this would be a time to start shifting into the last part of this call that I want to happen, which is breakout rooms where you, Alan, and Brad, and Michelle is also still here, and you, Olivia, Monica, David, Tamara, and me too, get a chance to say, okay, we've heard all this. This is this information coming in, these possibilities. What are next steps for me about something like my evolution as a person who would come to a 2-hour call to, you know, with all the purposes that we each came with. And how I propose we do this is, if you, David, with one of the others would go into one breakout room, and Monica and the other would stay here, and then I will also hold space, and we can have each of the guests, space holders in the making, go into one of those breakout rooms, and each there'll be 2 in the breakout room with me and 3 in each of the other 2 breakout rooms. And each of us can be asking this question, what are my next steps? Perfect.
What?
So
What was the question, Nicole?
what are my next steps? What will I use the fertilizer that I've got here? What do I want now that I've been here? So I will.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the.
So I will stay here. And whatever happens, I will stay here.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, I go out. You want to come with me?
So it's almost half past. So I will give us 15 minutes in the breakout room, and then I'll call you back to the main space, and we'll have just this last 10 or 15 minutes to report about what we discovered, about any last words. And I propose, Michelle, that you stay in the main room with me. You'll get an invitation to go to a breakout room, but I propose you stay here with me, and this will be one of the breakout rooms. And then okay, I'm going to go ahead and send you to your breakout rooms. I wish you extraordinary fun adventures discovering next steps. Hello, Michelle.
Hello, Nicole. I love your proposal.
Yes.
I'm very glad to be here with you.
Yeah, me too. And I noticed that Brad is not yet joined the breakout room with David and whoever it was with David. Do you see your invitation to join the breakout room, Brad?
I just lost it. Just lost it. Just gonna send it again. I
Yeah.
have to use the facilities. So
Oh, great. Huh. I don't know how to get it to happen again. Oh, there he goes. Great. Okay. I'm gonna, oh, I didn't give very clear instructions about each person taking a turn. I think that the Inla Keshians in each of the rooms will handle that.
And if you put it in the comments, I think they'll still see it.
Yeah, they will. I'm gonna let them handle it. I can radically rely on my teammates from Inla Kesh, these extraordinary possibilitators.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, my question is something like what do you want next steps about? What do I want next steps about? Yeah, and maybe it's particularly to a certain project or group that we're each part of. Yeah, do you get anything from that?
Yeah, I'm giggling because it feels quite clear for me. And I just to preface, I'm just going to grab a charger because I don't want to risk losing you. But to preface with, as I was listening and when the invitation, what have you come to the call for? And I was like, oh, I didn't know what I like. I know the why. I didn't know the what. Like I came because you invited me, and it was a rare occasion that I could say yes to something short, like last minute. And today it just worked. And I was like, so yes, I'm a yes. And then it was like, oh, I'm tracking the storyline and the weaving of our coming back together, and this piece of this new emerging relationship that I'm very much part of in my personal life. And just thinking like, even remembering the village feels like it's preparation for that, for the way that I want to be in the world with the person that I say yes to building life with and living with in that way. And my curiosity and my next steps are, so what is it and how do I even just introduce this kind of relating where there's an agreed upon format of, hey, do you want resistance decision making? Could we explore what that would be like? And maybe that's just the first step, is to say in that partnership, like, I learned this model. Are you willing to try it so that we can normalize resistance as part of how we decide things together? And we've been exploring it without the language. I didn't know. It was kind of like, hey, I feel insecure and I have a lot of doubt about this particular thing. Can I share it with you? Just so that we know about it, not to change it, but now it's like, hey, I have a language and we could use a scale. How do you feel about that? And I think if I even just introduce that and then say, the next time there's an opportunity for something online to sit with Nicole and learn more, is that something that we could try to prioritize?
I love it. What I'm hearing is yeah, resistance decision making is turned you on.
Mm-hmm.
And the next steps you want to create are something about your relational space with the partner that you're, yeah, adventuring alongside.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I catch in there is yeah, I've been learning a lot more about this distinction between a culture where it's consent based and consensus based, and a culture that is the context is radical responsibility, and each person has their own authority. And yes, they're checking out, is this really the authority of my being, or is this my gremlin or my box trying to take control?
Yeah.
And that if you want to start using resistance decision making, that you would use it. And rather than this way of like, we'll use it if you're okay with it. You catch that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I like it.
And really, it's wild because in a way, I've been using resistance decision making unconsciously my whole life. And maybe so has everyone else. But to use it consciously, to know that that's what I'm doing, and to be on purpose about it, that this is about negotiating intimacy, starting with a proposal, a conscious proposal from my adult ego state, rather than from my child who's like, is everything okay with the important person, or from my gremlin that's like, yeah, I'm gonna, this is gonna be about winning or losing. It's either you or me who gets what they want, and it's this, okay, I have a proposal. What resistance do you have? Because your resistance is going to be gold in shaping this proposal until we get to, yes, neither of us has resistance. Let's go about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so turned on about resistance decision making.
Yeah.
It was one of the websites I helped evolve when I was because I noticed that some things were missing from the website, and I reached out to Anne Chloe, and she says, here, put it in, like gave me the back end, and I went in and I threw it all in there, and then later I was just, yeah, I love using it. I hate when I forget that that I have that as a process, as a tool. And there's so many ways to start a proposal. Like, how about we do this? Thoughts, feelings? It can be that simple. What if I do this? Does that work for you? Yes, no. What works, what doesn't work? Do you have something you'd prefer? Like, what do
Is
you
there a
want?
difference to you, in your opinion, between a proposal and a request?
A request is a kind of proposal. Often a request has a yes or no answer, whereas a proposal has a resistance answer, or just a
Right.
go. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's almost like an open-ended question versus a closed question.
Yeah. And sometimes certain, yeah, depending on the state of the person, a request or a proposal can land in a way that it's like, ugh, for the person receiving it. Yeah.
I have one more next step, and then I'd like to hear yours.
Okay.
So it's funny because I feel like slightly shy, and if we were in the same space, I would like to take far more time to ask. But because this is where we find ourselves, it's like, okay, I guess I skip etiquette and go straight to the proposal of the courting. But I'm curious if somehow, someday, maybe in the next 2 months or so, if your schedule was free, if you'd be willing to sit with me and this fellow and have some kind of conversation similar to the one that was just had, but maybe more direct around what it is to build a two-person dynamic that, well, it would be a three-person dynamic because you would be part of it. And if maybe there was a man that you trust who could offer something from that masculine point of view in relation to this, if the four of us might be able to sit together.
Wow. Thank you is my first thought. I would love to be part of something like that. And yeah, I notice like when I check for resistance, there's this fear that's like something like what if that would be so intense a proposition that they'd just be like no, or they'd show up with a kind of like I'm doing this because she wants me to, without bringing them whole selves in. And the possibility I get is like for me to team up with a man and deliver a space about, so how's this relational space going to fly? And that you come as guests, really, I would say, or if I mean, I won't reject any paid. Oh, where'd she go?
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there
Here,
we go.
right? Okay.
Disappeared for a moment.
I know. I was like, no.
Yeah. And then as a team with other participants, we do some experiments together and we talk about kind of the core skills of radical relating and do some experiments and then come back and report about how the experiments went and then have next steps at the end of that call too. Like, what are you gonna do as a team to keep going on this adventure of how do we make this relational space fly? I'm going to write that down. How do we make this relationship? How do I make this relational space fly? Because there's no we in responsibility. Which is a saying that is used often in possibility management, that it's, I'm responsible for how much this relational space flies. And I can't do anything for the other person. They've got to do, like, they make their moves. And
which is such a different perspective than that there's no I in team. In a way, perhaps they're trying to address the same thing.
yeah.
And maybe I wonder if one is slightly more passive and one is slightly more direct, or there is like an initiation of maturity between the two to understand the concepts. And in order to get to the I in responsibility, you first have to touch the no I in team. I don't know. I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, that lands for me. I remember this kind of gremlin response to there's no I in teamwork. And it's like, yes, there is. It's in the a-hole. It's like, okay. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And sobering, like, okay. And it speaks to these power dynamics that are so typical in modern culture context. Okay, I'm going to give myself 3 or 4 minutes about next steps. I mean, I love this as the next step. Find someone, I have a few men come to mind, and propose that we create this experiment, workshop, work, talk, play space called how do I/we make this relational space fly? And, you know, the question mark could be like, it's like a question mark and a question mark.
Can we make a heart?
Yeah.
Real sweet.
Yeah, and hopefully they fly together. Because there's always the possibility of flying apart. You know, if that ends up being what you want or what one person wants, it's like, yeah, it's such a precious territory of research. Yeah. So how about I think this seeded something, and I will keep you posted.
Thank you. Late September or anytime not in August, please. August might be crazy.
Okay, so like it'll probably need to be the second half of September.
Wonderful.
Because then I'll be back from Poland.
Wonderful. Thank you for considering and receiving my proposal.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking. Reminds me of this other saying that I hear Quentin Callahan say a lot, is something like the answer to all the questions you don't ask is probably no. To close, I'm writing
Wonderful.
and I will close the room. That will give everyone 30 more seconds.
Were there any other 30 seconds worth of next steps for you?
Oh, I want to tell you about a game world that has just come into obvious existence. It turns out that you are talking to the pirate queen of a company called Pirate Games. And pirate games are games people can play either with tangible movable pieces or intangible games like I Spy that are all designed to create intimacy and high-level fun and learning in relational spaces. Leslie, hello.
I am
made it.
here. Hi, Nicole. Good to see you.
You too. Wow. I would love to hear anything anyone has to say about next steps that were discovered and about gold that you're leaving with.
I'll speak up. Can you all hear me? Is my internet stable?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I noticed in our little circle there together that I kind of was having a fantasy about this open space event that I'm coming up on, and that it's just to remind myself to show up and do what I can to make it effective, including maybe delay it by a week so I have enough time to get clear on how to deliver the opening circle, and maybe have a collaborator, a teammate to do it with, which might increase the joy on it. But yeah, to not have any expectations that all the world's problems are going to be solved next week in one open space, and to just show up and be glad to contribute and meet people and be curious. So, and I take away also the possibility of being a leader in another space I'm involved in when I see emotional things going unaddressed, to even just name it and mention it like, hey, I noticed there's something going on, or maybe address the fact that I'm not sure if within our team we have any space holding for feelings anywhere, and I'm not sure if I want to be taking that on for the team, but just to notice and maybe mention when I have feelings as a start point. Yeah, so thank you. Lots to digest. Thanks, team.
Thank you.
Alan.
You.
I will share that in my breakout room with Michelle, from her interest in using resistance decision making with her partner, came this proposal from her, and then this negotiation, and my next step is to reach out to my next step, while she was talking about her next steps, is to reach out to a collaborator to create a work talk space called something like, how do I make this relational space fly? So I commit to doing that.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Nicole. For me, I found it was just so accessible to see something that wanted to come. I didn't know what it was I was coming to the call for, and just listening to the frameworks and even just those small examples of, oh, how would I become more conscious? That's my next step. How do I become more conscious in using resistant decision making for my life? And how does that relate directly to my partner and the people I'm relating with? And hey, Nicole, I wonder if you would consider holding spaces for us to come and be in practice of this, where we can try it on together and receive feedback and not pretend like we know what we're doing, but be very clear we don't know what we're doing, and that we'd like to bring other notes in to help us in that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What did she say?
What did I say?
You're muted.
What did Nicole say?
Yeah.
She said yes.
Oh. Yes, I have this goal of creating this space. Thank you, Nicole. We made it last year, and I was, yeah, we made it already. Well, why do we have to speak again on this topic? And it's like, well, every time is different, and we have new insights, and we are different people, and so we really can enrich each other so easily. And it's, wow, I really like these spaces. I'm open to collaborate more with you, Nicole, when you make some more. Yeah.
Somebody asked me when I sent them this invitation, somebody said, is that where you are right now? Is it Inla Kesh? And I said, no. And it's next on my list of places to go.
Great.
Great.
Yes, and if Brad, do you want to speak up? Because if you don't speak up now, I will speak up, and it would take a time.
Sure. It's just the gold.
No
The gold I'm taking. The gold I'm taking from this was the connection between my lack of overall purpose and overall focus, and my next steps, or my day-to-day life, and the energy that provides when you focus, when you know where you're going and what you want to do next, then the energy for that will come along too. If you have no focus, no direction, then there's no need for the energy. And staying awake is difficult. So there's, I think it was David has said how keep each other awake and keep each other engaged, and that's, for me, that's the bit of gold that I'm taking away from this. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yes, I want to share that I'm what is organizing Eco Village Design Education course next year for 1 month in Inla Kesh. And yes, it's from the 1st of February to the 1st of March, where we will share Eco Village knowledge, which is gathered from a lot of Eco Village around the world, the gold of Eco Village, and we will make this fusion of PM and Eco Village knowledge to create new steps and new possibility to open up our PM circle to people who are really wanting to create communities. And I'm really on fire with this to make this happen. So you will see in the chats.
Wow.
Thank you. And we will hold this space as Inla Kesh community. Mhm.
Put it on
Yeah.
the schedule. All right.
Thank you.
Where is Inla Kesh located?
Chiapas, the state of Chiapas, Mexico.
Southernmost state in Mexico.
Yeah.
On the border with Guatemala, I think.
Yes.
Mhm. You're all Canadians?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Wow, never been in a Canadian circle before.
And Leslie's from New York. And Alivia and Tamara, where are you from?
I'm also
I'm
from New
from
York State.
Venezuela, but I live in the US.
Okay. Cool. Turtle Island.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Are there
I
any?
want to
Yeah.
say thank you also to mostly to you, Nicole, to move that this space happen, and I'm so happy to have this time to share what is going on and what is inside of me and in this team, and it brings again the passion to keep sharing, and not it's so easy to think that it's something normal because it's part of the daily life, but it's not normal, and it's really worth and amazing to share it with the world. And thank you for
Yes.
knock the door to us and create the space.
Oh, thank you.
thank
Thank you
you.
for saying yes. Thank you for doing all you've been doing for so long and for making it visible. I'm on your team to keep being, some kind of, I am, one of my jobs is I am an ambassador for archaearchy. And often this is about like bringing people with me to see archaearchy in action. And this is what you're doing. You're creating it. You're way on the edge, creating an arcing culture in a place for a long time. And the gold that you're discovering as you go, I want that gold to just fly and fertilize other projects, other beings' hearts. And, you know, for my whole life, I've been on Team Gaia. I want Gaia's risky human experiment to succeed. And, you know, I don't know if it will. And when I see what you're doing, when I see what other possibilitators are up to, and just that they're giving themselves to this work, to becoming Gaian as a toroidal field, you know, the planet Earth, the morphogenetic field of planet Earth is a torus. My individual field is this torus of toruses. It's so beautiful, and I just love when it can work with less bullshit in the way. So thank you for doing that work of putting the
Thank you,
bullshit on the
Nicole.
table so it can become gold. Composting, it's all about composting.
Yeah, oh, no. Super compost.
Yes. I wish each of you all an extraordinary rest of your days, and I will send some kind of, I'll send the recording out. Going back to the example proposal that David, you started. This recording, I want to make this recording public. And is there any resistance to each person in this recording as a co-creator of this recording can have a copy of it and do what they want with it? Is there any resistance? 3, 2, 1.
Does that include the breakout rooms too?
No, the only breakout room that was recorded is me and Michelle.
Okay, I have no resistance.
Anything else? Woohoo!
Yay.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, team. Keep flying.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Ciao. Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Nice to meet you all.
Ciao.
Bye.